Season 3 of House of the Dragon is coming soon, so today we're gonna walk through everything you need to know before the season starts, like where the war stands, which dragons are still in play, and where every major character landed at the end of Season 2. With that being said, let's get into it. Heading into Season 3, Rhaenyra's faction, the Blacks, look like they have all the momentum. Daemon finally won over the River Lords and raised an army at Harrenhal. Corlys is on his way to hold the Velaryon blockade. The Starks are at the Twins, marching south, and thanks to the sowing of the seeds, Rhaenyra has 3 new dragon riders under her command. But the Greens have reinforcements closing in. Tywin Lannister secured an alliance with the Triarchy, and they're on their way to the Gullet to break Corlys's blockade. His brother, Jason Lannister, is marching on Harrenhal, and Ormond Hightower is moving north with a host of his own, with Prince Daeron Targaryen and his dragon Tessarion at his side. As you can see, both sides have a lot of moving parts, but in any case, let's start with the dragons that are still in play, starting with the Greens. Vhagar is the largest dragon in the world, and by all means, the most dominant force to account for this season, and her rider, Aemon Targaryen, isn't shy about using her. According to Sir Criston Cole, Sunfire, ridden by Aegon, is still alive, but badly wounded after the battle at Rook's Rest. So, until further notice, we can only assume that he's out of the picture. Dreamfire is an asset that the Greens just haven't been able to tap into because Helaena refuses to ride her into battle, and unfortunately for them, it doesn't look like that's gonna change anytime soon. And then there's Tessarion, the young dragon that Rhaenyra hasn't factored into the equation just yet. Her rider hasn't been introduced on screen, but he's already been identified as Daeron Targaryen, the youngest son of Alicent and Viserys. On the other side, we have Rhaenyra on Syrax, Daemon on Caraxes, Jace on Vermax, and Baela on Moondancer to round off the dragons ridden by Rhaenyra's inner circle of allies. Then there's the dragons who were recently claimed by the Dragon Seeds, Adam on Seasmoke, Ulf on Silverwing, and Hugh on Vermithor. And lastly, the Blacks have one more X-Factor lurking somewhere in the mountains of the Vale, where Rhaena has been tracking a wild dragon that hasn't been claimed by anyone just yet. If she gets it to accept her as a rider, that's one more dragon the Greens would have to account for, giving them a potential 8-4 dragon advantage over their enemies. Now that we've covered the dragons pertaining to each side, let's get into where every major character landed at the end of last season. Heading into Season 3, Rhaenyra has come a long way from the woman who was crippled by grief and indecision at the start of Season 2. Since then, she's found 3 new dragon riders, she's flown to Harrenhal to bring Daemon back into the fold, and now she finds herself in position to take King's Landing without any bloodshed following her secret meeting with Alicent. But the weight of power and prophecy are sitting heavy on her. She knows what taking the throne will cost. The question for her next season is whether she's willing to pay the price. Aemond enters Season 3 as perhaps the most dangerous person in the show. As one of the masterminds behind the trap at Rook's Rest, he was responsible for the deaths of Rhaenys and Meleys, while nearly killing his own brother in the process. Aemond has been running the show as Prince Regent ever since, with no one to stop him. However, Helaena left him with an ominous message that he won't be able to shake off very easily. Now, whether that rattled his will or hardened his heart remains to be seen. Daemon spent most of Season 2 at Harrenhal, isolated from the action, haunted by his past, and slowly unraveling. The castle put him through hell by giving him visions of Rhaenyra, his mother, his brother, and ghosts around every corner, all leading up to the moment where a weirwood tree gives him prophetic visions of the future. After that, the question of his loyalty was answered. He bent the knee in front of his new army and declared Rhaenyra to be his queen. Following a long season on the sidelines, Daemon is back, focused, and ready for war. Alicent enters Season 3 with almost nothing left. She's been dismissed from the small council, stripped of all power, and the war she helped start has left her as a shell of her former self, questioning everything she's done throughout her life. So she did the only thing she could. She walked into Dragonstone, spoke to Rhaenyra, admitted that she was wrong about everything, and offered to open up the gates to King's Landing in exchange for her life. However, whether Alicent can follow through or even deliver her part of the bargain is one of the bigger questions heading into next season. Of all the major characters heading into season 3, Corlys might be the one with the least left to fight for. He's already made a name for himself and left a legacy, yet here he is sailing off into another battle in the name of the Queen Who Never Was, as a tribute to Rhaenys. With his old family all but gone, Corlys was forced to acknowledge his bastard sons last season. Now he's on his way to the Gullet to hold the blockade with one of them by his side. However, what neither of them know is that they're on a collision course headed straight for the Triarchy. And lastly, we have Aegon, who's heading into season 3, barely in the picture at all. He started season 2 as king, undermined by everyone around him, but still on the throne. Then, he decided to fly to the battle at Rook's Rest on Sunfire, but Aemond burned them out of the sky. He somehow managed to survive, but he was mortally wounded and permanently disfigured. Now Aegon finds himself in a covered wagon with Larys Strong, who plans an escape to Essos. While Rhaenyra and Aemond destroy each other, Aegon will be looming in the background, waiting for his moment to return. So that's where everyone stands heading into season 3. Rhaenyra has 3 new dragons, Daemon back on her side, a new army on land, and a secret deal that could hand her King's Landing without any bloodshed. And the Greens, despite losing momentum, still have Vhagar and other reinforcements closing in. Ormond Hightower is coming in hot from the south, Jason Lannister has Harrenhal in his sights, and the Triarchy are ready to get rid of Corlys and his Velaryon fleet once and for all. But if Game of Thrones has taught us anything, it's that things are never as simple as they seem, and the Dance of the Dragons is only getting started. In any case, that's it for me. As always, thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for content on House of the Dragon and A Song of Ice and Fire. When the season starts, I'll be doing weekly episode reviews with the Clanking Dragon, so be on the lookout for that. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.